Do you believe in subliminal messaging? Messages in songs, TV, commercials that are supposed to control what we buy and what we do. Well, it turns out subliminal messaging is a very real thing. And not only that, but I've discovered some of my own that I'd like to share with you. So, let's get into it. Welcome to Peculiar Occurrences. I am your host, Lilith Nova. The human mind is cut into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind works while we are awake and aware, while the subconscious mind is always active and regulating everything about us, from how many times our heart beats, to how many times we blink to our character, to processing information. No matter what we're doing, the subconscious is aware. And subliminal messages is a very real thing that does not just lie in conspiracy theories. Generally, there are three types of subliminal messages. Number one, subvisual messages. Visual cues that are flashed so quickly, most people do not pick up on them. They generally just flash for a few milliseconds and you never even notice them, but your subconscious mind picks it up. Number two, sub-audible messages. These are low-volume audio cues, messages, inserted into louder music. Number three, backmasking. This is a classic one where there are messages in backwards songs. An audio message that is recorded backwards with the intention of playing it forwards to disguise the reverse message. Subliminal messages are messages, images, audio that are below the level of aware consciousness. Whether audio or visual, your subconscious will pick up on it while you have no idea that you have heard or seen it. See, the constant repetition of saying a word over and over again, or a phrase over and over again, like lose weight, be more confident, can have an overall effect on the subconscious mind. It helps to rewire the brain and actually create new neurological pathways. And the technology for creating subliminal messages have been around for a very long time and have been proven to be effective in breaking bad habits such as smoking. Actually, in a group of smokers that were given subliminal messages compared to a group of smokers who were not, the group of smokers that were not given subliminal messages, only 13% quit smoking, while the group that was given the subliminal messages, 60% overall quit smoking. So it was proven to be very effective. It's so effective because it can go in and actually pull down the guarded, unconscious mind and override analytical, logical thinking. But what if people in politics or even Hollywood were to use subliminal messaging for their own personal agenda? And I'm sure everyone has heard of how Hollywood will put subliminal messages in some music. There are whole websites dedicated to list of the types of music or songs or artists that have these sorts of messages implanted into their songs. This would be subliminal messaging type 3, backmasking, which I spoke about earlier. I myself actually discovered one a few years back, and that video is actually uploaded here on my channel. In 2015, Miley Cyrus performed at the MTV Music Awards, where she gave a surprise performance of her, at the time, new song, Do It, which she later released for free on her website, MileyCyrus.com, which, while researching for this video, I actually tried to go back to MileyCyrus.com and it would not load. I couldn't get the page to come up at all. So that website may be on. So in June of 2017, I had bought some new editing software, the editing software I currently use. And I found that it came with the feature to reverse songs. And I thought that was super cool and started looking at music and reversing them. Well, I got to thinking about Miley Cyrus and the conspiracy theories that surround her, and started thinking, why would she put out a whole album for free? So I went and I grabbed her song Do It and I put it into the reverse songs, and was surprised to find that the entire song, not just a phrase, not just a couple of words, I'm talking the entire song is a whole nother song on the other side. I sat there and listened to this song over and over and over and over and over again, and typed out what I thought the lyrics meant. Now that I've listened to it a lot more since then, I think I may have gotten just a couple of the lyrics wrong, but I want to share that with you and see what you guys think and break down what I think about this song and the backwards message. But before I play the song, I just want to say a lot of the phrases in it are very political, and I am not here to discuss politics. I am not here to do any of that. I just want to share the song with you. I can't help what the message is, but yeah, so please, if you get mad over the messages, don't attack me over it. I can't help what it says. Let's play the song and then we'll break it down.
See a light. I don't remember him.
Alright, how wild is that, guys? I know, the first time I ever heard it, I went nuts. Okay, now let's try to break this down, since I actually know a lot about Miley. I may or may not be in the closet fan. Don't judge me! Okay, now the first line that I'm not going to repeat in full because there's a word in it that is not in my vocabulary, but the first line basically talks about how y'all need to figure this out, and I really think that maybe this song was meant to make subliminal messaging very obvious, because it is very obvious the second you reverse the song. I also think this because of later on in the song where she says, "Y'all so blonde, you'll sing along," and it kind of makes it like she's trying to make it obvious. I don't know, though. Then throughout a majority of the song, she was obviously talking about the election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And she kept saying the paparazzi's evil. She could have been talking about the way they follow stars in Hollywood, or she could have been talking about the way they were covering the election. And I say that because you obviously hear all the way through it, vote Hillary, and they're not going to beat her, they're not going to beat her. So it's kind of obvious that she's trying to sway the election with that. And then the song kind of seems to take kind of a turn where it sounds more like a chant or a prayer, where she starts speaking about things like being so good growing up, which we all know with her being a Disney star, and hemotoxins. And it turns out that hemotoxins are a very real thing. It's actually a venom, well, it's a sort of toxin that destroys red blood cells, and it's found in things like viper venom. But what's confusing about that to me is she keeps saying hoping getting off might not get me. Could she be referring to STDs or the AIDS virus? Miley Cyrus did do a lot of work with the AIDS Virus Foundation to find a cure. So much, in fact, that she actually won an award for it. Then the song goes on to ask a deity named Bosco for results in her flow. Well, Bosco is actually a real thing. St. John Bosco, also known as St. Don Bosco, is famous for working with the youth. And we all know how Miley Cyrus is big on the youth, especially LGBTQ youth. St. Bosco started the Salesian Order, which is one of the largest single religion organizations in the world today. And it was founded in the 19th century to help poor children during the Industrial Revolution. Was Miley trying to affect the youth, and was she invoking a saint to do so? And then all through the song you start hearing the word original, and the way it's sung is in the same manner that it's sung in the song Britney Spears' Original Doll. And if you didn't know, there's actually a whole conspiracy theory around that particular song that says that it's a song about how Britney Spears had been replaced by a clone. Is Miley Cyrus trying to tell us something with this? Has she been replaced by a clone, or will she be replaced by a clone? Or could it just be some wild, weird coincidence? Around that time, Miley Cyrus was hospitalized in 2014 during her Bangers tour due to taking a medicine for an illness that turned out she had been allergic to. She took this medicine for about 6 days, completely poisoning her body the entire time. She was quoted saying by the 6th day it was just not good, and she felt very lucky to be sitting there in that moment talking to reporters. And while she was in the hospital, she pretty much completely disappeared from social media. A lot of people were worried. There's definitely room for a conspiracy to pop up there that Miley Cyrus could have died, Miley Cyrus could have been replaced at that time. She even goes on to say, my reality now, or the reality now, I hope you don't find out about weed, which I think I misheard. Now that I've heard it over and over again, I think it's, I hope you don't find out about me. And it may be referring to the clone thing. The next parts go on to say things about people running and Earth being a big world and keeping the light out of sight. I really don't understand these parts. Maybe the light might be referring to religion, but I really don't know. If you have any input, let me know down below. Then the very end says, if they're horny, happily put out, be polite, out of sight. Okay, for one, I have read that a lot of subliminal messaging will be sexualized in nature, because something about appealing to the sexual side of a person actually helps to concrete in the subliminal message. And on top of that, could she have been referring to things like the Harvey Weinstein incident? This would have came out long before Harvey Weinstein was busted, but there have been rumors about whole pedophile rings and things like that when it comes to Disney as well, and other organizations in Hollywood. Could that be what these lines are referring to? Then the song ends with Molly saying, I know my name ain't Skip, which is kind of funny because on the other side, it also is a phrase about weed. And that is the end of the song. Now keep in mind, this was a completely free song put out on her website and also played in front of the world before the election at an on-TV awards show. Coincidence? I don't know. Maybe. But let me know what you think about this peculiar occurrence down below. Did you hear all the same things I heard, or was it just gibberish to you? Or did you hear completely different messages? And what do you think about subliminal messaging altogether? I really want to know. Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to check my description box for your peculiar occurrence gear. As well, don't forget to like this video, share it out to all your peculiar friends. Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell so you know when I upload. And until next time, keep your eyes peeled for all things peculiar. Do 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 do.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.